with the Godfather of Harlem, and we see that Bumpy is back at the bank with these guys, and they're giving him a hard time. He told them that he lost to St. Clair. No more money's coming out of that. And the guy saying they should have learned their lesson because the guy that used to be a banker with them lost his life messing with Bumpy. And Bumpy has to remind them that, listen, you're not taking anything away from me, my apartment and everything. Listen, remember, I'm a gangster and we can resort to gangster moves if needed. Ask your friend who used to be here, right? So they're going to float Bumpy a couple of months to figure things out, to get the money together, to make sure that he doesn't lose his assets. So they're going to give him a little bit of grace because Bumpy can make a move if he wants to. Meanwhile, Mamie's at home and she has boxes already because she's like, look, if they're going to kick us out, we might as well be ready. And he's like, listen, they're going to give us a couple of months. Nothing's going to happen. And she says, listen, I want to remind you, I will live in a box with you as long as I have you. And she is standing by her man. That's what I like about Mamie. She's going to stand by Bumpy's side. But she's for real, though. How we going to figure this out? And Bumpy's going to come up with a plan. So we see some guy get out of a car. Who is it? He's telling the guy, listen, if they make any moves, pop them. Man, it's Bonanno. Bonanno is back in the building. Remember, they sent them off to Arizona. Bumpy pretty much saved his life. And we see the guys are waiting for him. And it's time for the meetup. So your boy Bumpy sitting down with Bonanno, and Pettigrew, he's always questioning, right? He's like, why is he sitting down with Bonanno, man? This is crazy. And Pettigrew and Chance have been there since the beginning. But Pettigrew is really getting on some, yo, what's going on? He really is questioning Bumpy's decision-making process since the heart attack. So Bonanno's, what the heck am I doing here? Why'd you call me? Why'd you fly me in? And they're really questioning what's going on with the moves. But Chance is, yo, I trust Bumpy and his judgment. But Pettigrew, again, he is showing major doubt. So Bonanno's like, look, man, I want to know why I'm here. And Bumpy's pretty much telling him, look, Collabo is trying to take over Harlem. If he takes over Harlem, he's going to bump all the families out of the way. He's going to get so much power, and we got to stop him. And Bonanno is just like, why? You know what I mean? Why you want me to stop Collabo? Why'd you bring me here? It's because the guys, the families, they fear you. You know what I'm saying? They may not respect you, but they fear you because Bonanno can make moves that can whack everybody out of the game, right? So Bumpy is pleading with him, really, to help him out, to make sure they don't lose power. But Bonanno definitely wants his power back. And I'm sure Bonanno wants to be back in New York doing what he used to do. So Bumpy convinces him, and we're going to figure it out. So they're going to figure out how to get this guy Collabo out of here. Meanwhile, we got the roses that Collabo gave Stella. We're in Stella's house, and she gets a knock at the door. Of course, he's knocking on the door, tap. Who is it? It's your boy Collabo. He walks in there. Oh, yeah, here. Why are you here? Yeah, here to talk to you. You're looking beautiful as ever. She's like, what do you want, Collabo? And he's like, look, I came to see if you kind of thought about, my offer. Time is running out. I'm getting in position. Meanwhile, Omar is in the jail. He overhears these guys bumping their gums about taking out Malcolm. He sends the guy off and, takes this barbell and puts it on this guy's neck. He said, give me a name of the guy that initially shot Malcolm. So he gets a name. Now here we are at the board, and this guy, his name is Truman. He talks with a really high voice. And he's talking about this and that and getting the party together. And he's inviting people. And Mamie's like, you think you need to reconsider this list? There's no black folks on this list, so maybe you want some, artistic folks and writers on that list and everything. And ladies are like, Mamie Hatcher, it's not your place. And he's like, no, she's right. I need to add black artists and some black folks and whatever the case is. And he actually turns around and invites Mamie because he's taken a liking to this Mamie Hatcher. We know her name is Johnson, but that's the way it has to go while she's on the board. And he considers it, and he's taking a liking to her. And she's like, oh, okay. He invites her to the party as well. So she's surprised, and I'm sure the ladies are surprised as well. You know how Mamie, she can maneuver and get along with folks. All right, so Bonanno was talking to the families, the other guys, and they're trying to work things out. Like, we got to stop Colombo. Colombo being on TV, he's like Martin Luther King and all of this and that. Pino, he puts a wrench in the whole thing. He's like, well, F you, Bumpy. I don't know what deal you got here, but F you. And Bumpy's like, F you. I got to get back to work. Nothing wrong with Colombo. We're doing business. I'm making money with him. I'm out of here. So pretty much without Pino getting the family all together, it's definitely a wrench in the plan. So your girl, Elise, talks to Omar. Omar gives her a name, Kareem. This is the guy that shot Malcolm. So now Elise is trying to solicit the Black Panthers to go after this guy, Kareem. Of course, your boy Sadiq is like, yo, who told you? She's like, Omar. She's like, you like him? You still have feelings? She's like, maybe. I don't have me make choices right now. But we got to figure out what we're going to do. But we need to go after this guy who took out Malcolm to free Omar. Elise's whole point for justice for Omar. So Omar wants to come out and be with her again. Of course, we know that Elise is messing with Sadiq now. So now she got two guys that's going after her. So Mamie is getting ready for this ball. She's getting fitted by this designer. She is telling the ladies of the art division, the art board, that she wants to invite James Baldwin. Finds out that James Baldwin and Truman don't get along. They're both writers. And it seems like, Truman is jealous of James Baldwin of how famous he's getting. Your boy Bumpy sits down with Colombo. He has the gonads, he has the balls, and your boy Colombo took over the St. Clair. He's like, yeah, here's a ginger ale. And he's like, yeah, when are you going to start selling Doogie? And Bumpy's like, I'm not selling Doogie. He's like, well, we got to work out this partnership. He's like, there is no partnership, man. You know what I'm saying? Just give me St. Clair's back or give me my money. Either way. And your boy Colombo goes off. He slams his hand on the table. He's like, you guys put me in jail. You think I'm going to let that go? So now we see the root of it all, of the real reason why Colombo is still after Bumpy till this day. Because they put him away for 13 months, right? So now he's coming back with a vengeance. And Bumpy's like, look, man, me and Chen, we work things out, man. So I think we could work this out. But because of Colombo's greed and his vengeance, it blinds him from trying to be reasonable. Here we are with Sadiq. He's looking through the straps, making sure there's bullets in there, and they are going to go after this guy, Kareem. So he's handing out the straps to the people, right, making sure everything is good, and they're going to go after this guy and get justice for Omar. There goes Jerome, the new recruit, and he's like, hey, can I get one of those? He's like, nah, man, nah, young blood, you're going to have to sit this one out. Now, there's a reason why they're showing us right here, why he's asking, but they do lock the door so Jerome or anyone can't get in there and just pull out a strap. Yeah, showing us for a reason. We got to pay attention and remember this moment right here. So Elise and the Black Panthers roll up into this apartment looking for Kareem, and the wife is like, I don't know where he is. They're going through the house. He's like, yeah, not here. You're just trying to calm the situation down. But she's like, I'm going to call 911. She looks down and she sees the picture of this guy, Kareem, and they are at the Newark Mosque, right? She's like, okay, I know exactly where he is, because the wife is saying she hasn't seen him in months, so he's obviously at the mosque. They get up out of there while the wife calls 911. We'll see if anything happens with that, maybe not. So Mamie is in the diner that everybody comes to, boy, and who does she invite? Truman comes through, man. They have a whole lot of white folks roll up in there, and they get no problems, right? So Mamie's like, hey, you hear Truman? And Truman is walking in, and she's like, yeah, I would have met you downtown. He's like, I hate that place. This is where I want to be with you, lovely. And he's complimenting her and everything. And again, there's an ulterior motive right here. And he's like, yeah, I heard your name. Your maiden name is Hatchet, but I did some research, and I found out that you are married to a notorious gangster, Bumpy Johnston. She's like, well, whether I'm married to him or not, I just wanted to ask you if we can invite James Baldwin. His face turns into a different face. He's like, oh, I hate him, and he really despises James Baldwin. It's obvious there's some type of friction or competition going on. They used to be friends, but something happened where he doesn't like James Baldwin. I guess they have two different ideals and two different ways of approaching things. Of course, back in the 60s, you already know what it is. James Baldwin is trying to show the truth, and this guy may be not showing the truth. So she's like, okay, maybe you could bring your husband to the ball. And she's like, well, I really want to bring James Baldwin. He's like, no, I'm not having it. Bring your husband, and that's that. Like, not trying to have James Baldwin come through. He wants to talk to Bumpy so he could write a new book. It took him 7 years to write his other quote unquote gangster book. So he wants to talk to Bumpy so he can get any stories, gangster stories, crime stories, or whatever the case is. But he's adamant about not having James Baldwin at this ball. And she's like, okay, going to drink her tea. And Mamie's always going to push the envelope and do something. So while she's drinking the tea, Stella's drinking her drink. And pretty much Bumpy's like, look, you don't realize it, but Pino is trying to take everything over. He tried to get Stella to convince Pino to really go against Colombo. But she's looking at the whole situation, and yeah, Pino pretty much is running the show. She thinks she's running the show, and Bumpy's trying to point that out. So they have this whole musical thing going on where she's just observing how Pino is close to all the fellas and how Pino really does have the guys on his side. In my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, she is plotting, scheming, observing, because eventually Stella is going to get Pino knocked off, right? So she's looking and watching and seeing some of his weaknesses and seeing who's loyal or not. So your boy Bonanno is sitting down with Bumpy, and he's like, yeah, I heard you sat down with Colombo. You got some balls. He's like, look, I got to turn every stone at this point. So pretty much what it comes down to is if Colombo is not cooperating, Bonanno's like, look, man, you got an obstacle in your way. And what do we do with obstacles? We get rid of the obstacles in the way. He's like, you want me to knock off a made man? He's like, look, we got to do what we got to do. We got to get him out of here. You know what I'm saying? If he takes over, he's going to mess everything up. He's up there on TV. He's like Martin Luther King. So you got to get rid of him. Bumpy's thinking about it, but he's like, look, I can't do this without the families aligned with me. And Bonanno's like, don't worry about the families. We got to get this guy out of the way. If he messes Harlem up and gets all these cameras and all of this up there, it's going to mess everything up. So Pino's about to get up out of there, right? And Stella rolls over to him. He's like, hey, you heard you had a meeting, and it looks like you're talking to Colombo. And Pino's like, yeah, I heard you talking to Colombo too. You warming up to him too. He's like, why don't you tell me? He's like, well, just the same way you didn't tell me that Colombo was trying to get down and marry you and everything else like that. He's like, look, you had to do what I had to do and made a decision for the family. She's like, well, you didn't tell me about it, da-da. He's like, and you could tell there's great camera work going on because they're showing how she's tensing up. She's holding this chair and tensing up with this conversation. And Pino's like, yeah, I just made a decision. It is what it is. I know you want me to talk to you or whatever. But she is pretty angry, and she is realizing how Pino is really trying to do things without her. He's like, is that a problem? And she's like, nah, no problem. You're going to spin the block on Pino. But Pino's just like, yeah, if you and Colombo get together, that makes things easier for all of us. We're going to make more money. It's going to be better. And she's like, yeah, it is what it is. She just yesing him off. And he's like, yeah, congratulations. And by the way, good job using what you got to get in with Colombo. And she's like, hey, okay. You already know. You can see in her eyes, Stella's about to get Pino out of here with this craziness that he's on. He's been on that BS. So Bumpy sitting down with the fellas, and pretty much he's telling them that Bonanno wants to off Colombo. And Pettigrew, he's really down for it. He's like, yeah, we need to get him out of the way and all this and that. But Bumpy's not with it. He's like, yo, I need the families down with us. And Pettigrew's just like, nah, man, we need to do something, man. Pettigrew pretty much is on some like, we don't do anything, we're not going to eat. And everybody is observing this conversation. Frank is as well. But Bumpy's like, nah, we're not going to knock him off. You know what I'm saying? How are we going to do it? This is not going to be a good look unless we have the families down with it. And Pettigrew, again, he is bucking back on Bumpy. He's been thinking about it, talking about it to Chance. But now he's really bucking back on Bumpy's decision. And he's saying, look, man, if we don't do anything, we can't eat. We're not going to eat. We're going to starve. And he's like, yo, I could take him out. I could do it. You know what I'm saying? I could just roll up in there and do this and that. And you can just take my knife and just jig him in the kidneys and that's it. And Bumpy's like, no, we're not going to do it like that. We got to figure something out. And Frank is like, what you going to do with that? Like, seriously? He's like, you want me to show you? You want me to show you? And, Pettigrew always had a beef with Frank Lucas. And now I'm seeing it that really it wasn't Chance that was jealous of Frank. It was Pettigrew. Pettigrew is the one that really is jealous of Frank and how close Frank is getting to Bumpy. But Bumpy's like, no, we're not doing it that way. And Frank is like, yo, you need to show Bumpy some respect, right? And he's like, shut up, you country bumpkin. Chance gets in between them. He's like, yo, I never liked you and all of this and that. And Chance is like, yo, Frank is right. Like, show Bumpy respect. Like, zip your lips, man. Like, cut it out. He's like, for real? Like, Frank is right? And we're looking at a crazy moment right here, super change. And Pettigrew is like, it's like that? Yo, man, F you, right? So he says F you to Chance, like best friend for a long time, F you. He's not down with this anymore. And yeah, like Pettigrew is flipping out on the crew because I guess he's hungry. I guess he wants to make more money. And I think Pettigrew definitely is overstepping his boundary right here. He no longer wants to be underneath Bumpy's decisions that he doesn't agree with. So he looks at everybody and he's like, yo, F you. And Pettigrew pretty much walks out on the crew. And this is wild right here. I thought it would be Chance, but no, all this time it's been Pettigrew really bucking back. So he leaves. So now we're at the Newark Moss, right? And Elise, she rolls up in there with the Black Panthers boy. Like, she is leading the brigade right here. Like, she is doing a lot of G moves. So she's like, where's Kareem? And he was like, I don't know. They're not trying to give him up. So she's like, listen, sister, we need to find him right now. So they see another door. They go in another door and they go to the back door. And it's like, there he is right there. He was sitting down. He got him up. He was like, freeze, mother freaker. We in the 60s, remember? Freeze, you sap sucker, right? You coming with us. So, yeah, puts his hands up. And, yeah, the guy, I remember his face. Yeah, they sticking him up. And they're going to take him away. Meanwhile, they take him back. And your boy Sadiq is going in on Kareem. Bow with those big old hands, busting him side the head. He's like, give us a name. Who was it? Who was behind this and all that? And Sadiq says, yeah, I remember you. You had a double barrel shotgun because I was there and I saw you shoot Malcolm. So Sadiq was there all that time. And look at Elise just looking like she's ready to pounce on this guy. And yeah, Phoenix Shakur's like, what's her name? Who's the contact? Was the CIA? He's like, I don't know. It was just some white guys. I don't know their name, right? And then here comes Elise. She's like, well, maybe this will convince you. And she takes out a razor and she puts that razor to his neck like a gangster daughter that she is. And she's like, listen, maybe this will convince you. Who was it? Do you have a contact? He's like, I don't know his name. She's like, do you have a number, right? So they take the phone and they put it down. It's like, yeah, you better call him right now and set up a meet so we can meet him, right? They are going in on this guy. You better call him right now and you better pray or I'm going to slit your neck. I'm like, dang, Elise is a G. So then we have this musical montage again. She's looking at the roses that Colombo gave and she picks up the phone. And I'm thinking she's calling Colombo, right? Because at this point, it's like, what are her other options? Who is she calling? So Mamie's getting ready. She putting on her red lipstick, getting ready for this masquerade ball. She looking good as usual, but she's about to shake some things up, boy, yeah. She goes against the grain for a good cause, and let's see what happens. So now, Bumpy's thinking again. Like, this is a whole musical montage, not a lot of talking going on, but Bumpy gets up, looks at Chance and looks at Frank, and they get the signal. No words are said, but they are now all walking out of the door. They're going somewhere where they're going. I like this episode because of the cinematography, of the camera shots, the angles. I like the music as well. It goes along with what's happening here. And then we see Mamie being driven by Junie. And this is a great camera angle because who do we see behind Junie? Yeah, James Baldwin is going to the ball, regardless of what Truman said. Mamie's going to do whatever she needs to do. in order to make things happen. And she looks at James Baldwin, they smile, and he's looking at her like, yo, I hope this is going to work because, you know, they enemies. Truman and Baldwin are enemies, but she's going to make it happen because that's how Mamie makes things happen. So it looks like they're going to this ball, and it's at the Waldorf Astoria, probably downtown Manhattan. So this looks like it's a real ball that happened back in the 60s, right? You see this film of old footage of people in their masquerade masks and everything else like that, and they are really going up in this spot. So this was a real thing back in the day where Truman had his masquerade ball and all of this and that. So now we're inside, and Truman is talking to the ladies like this. Yeah, I did this and I did that. Meanwhile, we see Mamie walking in with this guy. Now, we know who it is, but of course, Truman rolls over. Oh, you look wonderful. She's like, yeah. She's like, yeah, designer, you can thank him. He's like, yeah, he's around here all coked up somewhere, right? And she's looking good. Mamie looks good in everything that she puts on, right? So he's like, yes, you look fabulous, right? So he turns to the guy, and he's like, I hope this is your husband, Mr. Hatchet, or should I say, Mr. Bumpy Johnson, right? And he has his mask on. He says, neither one, right? And he takes off his mask, and he's like, oh, you, James Baldwin, what are you doing here, right? And James Baldwin is telling Mamie, hey, maybe this was a bad idea. And the lady's is like, oh, my God, Mamie, what did you do, right? And she's like, no, you guys need to meet up. This is ridiculous. This is crazy. And she's like, I told you not to invite him. This is crazy. And Baldwin's just like, nah, maybe we should leave. And Mamie's like, no, you guys are brilliant writers. You need brilliant writers, black and white, to come together. You write with people with masks on, and James Baldwin, you write, and you are taking the mask off. And we need brilliant writers like both of you in the society to bring everybody together and just show that we're all the same no matter what, right? So she is talking that talk, and they are listening, and Truman's listening, and she is basically convincing these guys that they need to come together, that Truman needs to calm down, stop being jealous, and she tells them to shake hands. So James Baldwin puts out his hand, and Truman shakes his hand, and she is just standing there like, got it done. Meanwhile, all the cameras come around, and they start taking pictures, right? Yeah, Mamie did it. She got these two guys to put down their differences, and they are taking pictures, and Truman is saying to Mamie, yeah, it was a good move. That is the move of a queen, because he wants to have a queen at the ball, right? So let's see if Mamie becomes the queen, but it looks like she accomplished getting these two together, and yes, getting James Baldwin back in the door with this guy. And yeah, time for them to come together, put their differences aside. Whether they're gay or straight, they need to come together, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to reconcile to get more black artists in the door. And yes, the ladies are cheering to Mamie because Mamie got it done, brought them back together. She absolutely, whether she's crowned or not, she is the queen. So here we are. We got this guy, Kareem. He called the white guy to meet up. They're waiting, and they're going to wait as long as they need to wait. But this guy's standing outside, and they're going to see who is behind this whole thing, whether CIA, FBI, whoever it is. Stella is in the car. Again, another musical montage. Stella's in the car. She's going somewhere. Is she going to meet up with Colombo? Is that who she called, or did she call somebody else? Meanwhile, we got your boy, Bumpy. And yeah, they're talking. He's like, why do you have me here? He's like, look, man, I thought about your idea. Let's take out Colombo. We need two families. Who else is it? Yeah, Stella shows up. And your boy laughs, right? Bonanno, he laughs. He's like, oh, really, right? So we are here. We're waiting. Kareem is waiting for the guy. We're back here. And then somebody shows up, right? Let's get out. Let's go see who it is, right? So they roll up, and he's like, hey, how you doing? He's like, hey, Kareem. And the guy looks up, and he takes out the strap and pops Kareem in the head. Blow. It's like, man. And then they drive off after popping Kareem in the head. This is crazy. They drive off. The Panthers run over, man. Your boy Kareem is out of here. Now, this wasn't a good idea at all. What they should have done was they should have handed him over to the authorities or got a lawyer or whatever and kept him captured and say, hey, we got a witness that actually did pop Malcolm. Just to save Omar, but this plan went wrong. It was a bad plan and they popped him. He's gone. So we see Pettigrew in the car looking real evil, right? Meanwhile, we are at the St. Clair's, and this guy's like, hey, this is dedicated to Colombo. I got his back, he has mine. And he starts singing like Frank Sinatra. Life, right? He starts singing to Colombo. Your boy Pettigrew goes to the back of St. Clair's through the service entrance, right? And Colombo's sitting there taking all his praises and has this fake Frank Sinatra singing to him. And it boy Bonanno's like, hey, look, you should keep your tits out of this shit. She's like, oh, maybe you should keep your little peck out of this, huh? It's already involved, huh? Starts laughing. Stella sees no joke. Stella can hang with the best of them because we know who her father is. So he's like, hey, so you thought Pino was down with this shit? She's like, well, he said he thought Pino was in charge. He says, well, not for long. He's not going to be in charge for long. He's like, yeah, good girl, right? Because like I said, Stella is going to get Pino out of here one way or another. Whether it's done already, we don't know. But your boy Bonanno's like, you have two families down. Let's take out a maid man. Let's take out this guy, Joe Colombo, right? So that's the plan. And they're going to put it in motion. She is not going to get down with Colombo, but they may use her to get close to Colombo to take him out. So Colombo's sitting there with his ladies and his fake Frank Sinatra guy singing to him. And Pettigrew's rolling up in there. And I look like he's going to take him out, right? He's putting his hand in his jacket, looking like he's about to take out a knife, the same knife that he was talking about. They're clapping and Colombo's enjoying this and all this and that. And they're showing your boy roll over. He's like, hey, Joe Colombo, we need to talk. And he looks up, he says, what do we need to talk about? And your boy Pettigrew says, we need to talk about your partnership with me. I'm like, oh, this guy Pettigrew, right? Man, he just flipped on Bumpy. And your boy, Colombo just looks like, oh, okay. He knows who he is. He knows he's Bumpy's guy. So what's going to happen next, family? Drop your comments below. Let's see what happens. We shall see on the next episode of The Godfather of Harlem.